I just spelled. To those of you who actually can, sign, we apologize. We don't know sign language.
For Mike spelling.
I'm cutting that out. Glenjamin.
Michael.
What did we just see?
We saw a movie that did this about 17,000 times.
Then one like this.
A Quiet Place. We saw A Quiet Place. Which, believe it or not, Mike, wasn't so quiet. It wasn't a quiet movie.
I mean, it was more quiet than most.
Mostly quiet.
Mostly quiet. I don't think the first line of dialogue, other than sign language, happened until maybe 30, 40 minutes in.
Mm-hmm. And it was an hour and a half long movie. So that was halfway through the movie, damn.
Yeah.
It's insane.
What's it about?
This movie is about a family. A family who is basically trying to survive on what, the land.
Yeah.
So there's a mysterious amount of creatures that, just murder a bunch of people. And this family is like one of the
people that haven't been
very
murdered.
few survivors
because they were the only people in New York City that could shut the hell up.
Mm-hmm.
But it is directed by John Krasinski, starring John Krasinski, Emily Blunt,
his wife.
Yeah, Millicent Simmons, and Noah Jupe.
Good old Noah Jupe.
And a few others that...
There's like 6 people in this
There's
whole
6
movie.
people in the whole movie.
There's not many.
And possibly Doug Jones, but probably not, because I feel like he would be billed if it were him.
Yeah.
But the creature is a tall, slender thing. Yeah, so essentially, they have to be quiet because these creatures hunt with sound.
They're blind, and they hunt with sound.
Yes. As far as PG-13 horror movies go, this is one of them.
Yeah.
And it's also good.
It
was. For a PG-13 horror movie, it's pretty good.
So compared to most recent horror movies, as you've probably seen, you might be a teenage girl. Who may be you? This is definitely one of the better ones to come out.
Yeah.
At least in the last year or so.
Yeah.
But really the best ones have been like Conjuring or,
The Witch.
The Witch. Can't forget The Witch.
The sound design is definitely one of the major parts of this movie. It relies completely on how it sounds. Not completely. There are some pretty nice
pretty
shots.
reliable on its sounds.
Yeah, but it's very audio heavy. It is definitely enhanced by surround sound. I loved the fact that there was no dialogue for the first 30 minutes. Audible dialogue, obviously. There's sign language. As far as PG-13 horror movies go, it was one of the most creative in a way.
Yes.
It's you have your typical horror, your typical monster, but way it was told.
You don't want to say it's original, but it's been more original than what's been coming out.
It's not original, but the way it's told is kind of original.
Yeah. I think I had 2 flaws with this movie. One was the jump scares, which for a movie that was like, hey, it's a quiet place, and then
loud things happen.
For a while it was doing so well with being quiet, and you're on the edge of your, well, not literally on the edge of your seat, but you're thrilled at the fact that everything's so quiet, and then they throw jump scares at you when literally something just slapping a glass could have scared the shit out of you.
Yeah.
But instead they had to add a whole bunch of screeching violins or
I
something like that.
will give it one credit in the jump scare area. It didn't overmix the jump scares, where a lot of movies like put it all the way to 11.
Mm-hmm.
This one, kept it around like 8 or 9. It was still loud, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like
It was
deafening loud.
It was still unnecessary for a movie that really was doing so well until it got.
It had some awesome imagery too. One of the characters is deaf. Millicent Simmons. She's actually a deaf actress, and or do you have to say hard of hearing? I don't know. Anyway, Millicent Simmons.
Do I have to? No, but you did for me. Thank
Millicent Simmons is a deaf actress, and she was in Wonderstruck, and she's very talented.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some scenes where, like, you hear things from her perspective, which is like her heartbeat and maybe some ringing, and then you see something in the background, builds more suspense than silence followed by a loud sound.
Mm-hmm.
Just the imagery. Horror movies don't use imagery enough to build suspense. They only use sound. And oddly enough, as I said, this is stronger. The strongest part of it was its sound design.
Mm-hmm.
It did the imagery thing a lot better than most horror movies too. Yeah. Got anything else to say?
I got nothing. It was very well acted.
Yes. One last thing. As great of an actor as John Krasinski is, I can't take him seriously because of The Office. It's not his fault.
Luckily, I never really watched The Office.
Yeah, I did. And
I'm a sinner. I know.
There are points where I forget that he's not Jim Halpert.
Yeah.
But then there's other parts where like, Jim, what are you doing in a post-apocalyptic world with monsters that hunt by sound? Come on, Jim.
I mean, unluckily enough for him, he's had that to really start his career. Yeah. But luckily enough, he's getting his career off.
Yeah,
on a better note now.
I do respect the fact that he's steering away from comedies.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have anything else to say.
Yeah, me neither.
The imagery was great. The sound mixing was great. Acting, I just said acting, didn't I? But it was all great. Yeah. It was all good. It was good horror movie for what horror movies are nowadays, where we get truth or dare or just things like that.
My eye involuntarily did this when you said truth or dare.
You went brain dead? Yeah, get it. So let's go to the ratings.
I'm going to say see it, Glenn.
I'm going to also say see it. Do not go opening weekend. Very well
This is going to be overran by middle school and high school kids that have no idea how to respect other people in movie theaters.
Because I definitely wanted to open with this, but I completely forgot until just now. Opening night, the theater that we were going to go to, which was an 8 o'clock showing, was filled. People sat right next to us when we were the only ones in a row, in the very front row.
Which wouldn't be a problem if they shut the hell up.
Yeah, if they shut the hell up. There's teenagers behind us that spilled popcorn all over the place, and then they were laughing and giggling, and I'm just like, Mike, give me your ticket. We're going to go to a different show.
There was another family farting behind us. I just wanted to be like, Silencio, por favor!
But yeah, don't go during a weekend if you can help it.
Yeah,
because the movie's going to be ruined by teenagers most likely, just going eating candy out of a bag or just
and snapgramming their woke friends.
That was the most old thing I've ever heard.
I said it on purpose. I said it on purpose. I know what snapgram is.
I think I got it. How about that?
Blood. What you were trying to do was uh, uh.
Fuck. Yo, we're gonna die.